It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in the quaint suburb of Maplewood. The Jefferson family, newly moved in, was enjoying a barbecue in their backyard. Marcus and Lisa Jefferson, along with their two children, Kayla and Jordan, were excited about their new home and the fresh start it represented. However, their excitement was abruptly shattered when their neighbor, Mr. Thompson, an older man known for his discriminatory views, approached them with a scowl. Mr. Thompson, a lifelong resident of Maplewood, had made his prejudices clear over the years. He had seen the Jeffersons move in and had been watching them with suspicion ever since. As he walked up to their yard, his disdain was palpable. "You people don't belong here," he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Marcus, taken aback by the blatant racism, tried to remain calm. "Excuse me? We're just having a family barbecue in our own backyard," he responded, his voice steady despite the anger brewing inside him. Thompson crossed his arms, glaring at the Jeffersons. "This is a respectable neighborhood. We don't need your kind bringing down the property values," he spat out, his words cutting like a knife. Lisa stepped forward, her protective instincts kicking in. "We have every right to be here, just like you. We bought this house, and we intend to make it our home," she said firmly, her eyes meeting Thompson's with unwavering determination. Thompson's face twisted in anger. "If you think I'm going to let you ruin this neighborhood, you've got another thing coming," he snarled before turning on his heel and storming back to his house. The Jeffersons were left standing in their yard, stunned and hurt by the encounter. The children, who had been playing nearby, clung to their parents, confused and frightened by the confrontation. Marcus and Lisa exchanged a look of solidarity, silently vowing not to let this man drive them out of their new home. That night, as they sat together in their living room, Marcus spoke up. "We can't let him win. We need to show him and everyone else that we belong here and that we're not going anywhere," he said, his voice filled with resolve. Lisa nodded, a determined look in her eyes. "We'll prove that we're just as good as anyone else in this neighborhood. We'll get involved in the community, make friends, and show them who we really are," she agreed. And so, the Jeffersons began their journey to integrate themselves into the Maplewood community, determined to rise above the hatred and prejudice they had encountered. Little did they know that their actions would soon capture the attention of the entire nation. The Jefferson family wasted no time in getting involved in their new community. Despite the hurtful encounter with Mr. Thompson, they were determined to make Maplewood their home. Marcus, who had a background in engineering, joined the local neighborhood association. Lisa, a talented baker, started volunteering at the community center, offering baking classes and participating in charity bake sales. Kayla and Jordan, who were still adjusting to their new school, signed up for extracurricular activities, eager to make new friends and show their peers their many talents. Marcus attended his first neighborhood association meeting with a mixture of apprehension and determination. He knew that facing the community head-on was the best way to counteract any negative impressions Mr. Thompson might have spread. As he introduced himself to the group, he felt the weight of their curious gazes. "Good evening, everyone. I'm Marcus Jefferson, and my family and I just moved into the neighborhood. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you and contributing to our community," he said, his voice steady. The response was mixed. Some members welcomed him warmly, while others seemed more reserved. Mr. Thompson, of course, was present, his expression unreadable. Marcus didn't let it deter him. He actively participated in discussions, offering thoughtful suggestions and showing his willingness to help wherever needed. Lisa, meanwhile, quickly made a name for herself at the community center. Her baking classes became popular, attracting a diverse group of attendees. Her warm personality and undeniable talent made her a favorite among the center's regulars. She also organized a bake sale to raise funds for local schools, which garnered significant attention and praise. Kayla and Jordan, despite their initial nerves, thrived in their new environment. Kayla joined the school's dance team and quickly impressed her teammates with her skills and dedication. Jordan, passionate about science, joined the robotics club and soon became an integral part of the team. Their involvement helped them make friends and feel more at home. The Jeffersons' efforts did not go unnoticed. Slowly but surely, their neighbors began to see them for who they truly were: a hard-working, kind, and talented family. They earned respect and admiration from many, which only fueled their determination to keep pushing forward. One evening, after a particularly successful community event, Marcus and Lisa sat together on their porch, reflecting on their progress. "I think we're starting to make a difference," Lisa said, a hopeful smile on her face. Marcus nodded. "I think so too. We just have to keep going, keep showing them who we really are," he replied. But their journey was far from over. As they continued to build their lives in Maplewood, the Jeffersons were about to face even greater challenges and opportunities that would test their resilience and ultimately lead to an unexpected turn of events. Despite their efforts to integrate and contribute positively to the community, the Jeffersons still faced resistance from certain neighbors, notably Mr. Thompson. His disdainful attitude persisted, and he began subtly influencing others with his prejudiced views. This resistance created an undercurrent of tension in the neighborhood, making the Jeffersons' journey more challenging. Marcus felt the strain the most. At the next neighborhood association meeting, he noticed subtle shifts in attitudes. Some members who had been friendly now seemed distant. He overheard whispers and saw pointed looks directed at him. It was clear that Mr. Thompson had been spreading rumors, casting doubt on the Jeffersons' character and intentions. Lisa also encountered resistance at the community center. Though her baking classes remained popular, she noticed a few regular attendees stopped coming. There were murmurs that she was taking opportunities away from other volunteers, a narrative that Lisa suspected Mr. Thompson had a hand in crafting. Kayla and Jordan felt the effects at school as well. Kayla overheard a group of girls talking about her, questioning why she had been allowed on the dance team. Jordan's robotics club teammates started to exclude him from group activities, influenced by their parents' prejudices. One evening, after a particularly difficult day, the family gathered in the living room to talk. Marcus shared his frustrations about the association meeting, and Lisa recounted her experiences at the community center. Kayla and Jordan expressed their confusion and hurt over the change in their friend's behavior. "It's like we're fighting a losing battle," Kayla said, tears in her eyes. Marcus took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his family's pain. "We're not losing," he said firmly. "We're just facing a setback. This is our home now, and we have to show them that we belong here." Lisa nodded in agreement. "We can't let a few narrow-minded people dictate our lives. We have to keep pushing forward, for ourselves and for others who might face the same challenges." Jordan looked at his parents, determination in his young eyes. "We'll show them who we really are," he said. The Jeffersons decided to redouble their efforts. Marcus proposed new projects at the association meetings, focusing on community building and inclusivity. Lisa organized more events at the community center, highlighting cultural diversity and fostering a welcoming environment. Kayla and Jordan continued to excel in their activities, proving their worth through hard work and talent. Despite the ongoing resistance, the Jeffersons' perseverance began to pay off. They garnered support from neighbors who saw their genuine efforts and were inspired by their resilience. Slowly, the tide started to turn, but the real breakthrough was yet to come. As the weeks passed, tensions in the neighborhood reached a tipping point. The Jeffersons' continuous efforts to integrate and contribute positively were beginning to win over many of the neighbors, but Mr. Thompson's influence was still strong among a small, vocal minority. One Saturday afternoon, the community center hosted a fair, featuring various stalls and activities aimed at bringing neighbors together. Marcus and Lisa had been instrumental in organizing the event, and Kayla and Jordan were excited to participate. The fair represented an opportunity for the Jeffersons to showcase their commitment to the community and bridge some of the remaining gaps. Lisa set up a baking booth, offering free samples of her homemade treats, which quickly became a hit. Marcus helped manage the event, ensuring everything ran smoothly. Kayla performed a dance routine with her team, drawing applause and cheers from the crowd. Jordan, with his robotics club, demonstrated a project that captivated both children and adults alike. Despite the Jeffersons' efforts and the fair's positive atmosphere, Mr. Thompson and his close-knit group of supporters remained aloof. They stood at a distance, watching with skeptical eyes and making occasional disparaging remarks. Marcus noticed this and decided it was time to confront the issue head-on. During a lull in the activities, Marcus approached Mr. Thompson. "Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson," he began, trying to keep his tone neutral. "I noticed you and your friends haven't had a chance to enjoy the fair. There's a lot of great food and activities. Maybe you'd like to check it out." Mr. Thompson scoffed. "We're just observing, Jefferson. Not everything needs our involvement, you know." Marcus took a deep breath. "I understand you have concerns about our family and our place in this neighborhood. I'd like to address them directly, if you're willing to have a conversation." Thompson's expression hardened. "What's there to talk about? You people come in here, acting like you own the place, changing everything. Some of us liked things the way they were." Marcus met his gaze steadily. "We're not here to change things for the sake of change. We're here to be a part of this community, just like everyone else. We want to contribute and make this neighborhood a better place for all of us." Their conversation drew the attention of nearby fairgoers, who began to gather around. Some were friends of the Jeffersons, while others were undecided, curious to see how the confrontation would play out. Lisa, noticing the gathering crowd and sensing the tension, joined Marcus. "We love this neighborhood," she said, her voice clear and calm. "Our children are making friends here, and we're committed to being good neighbors. We just want the chance to prove that." Mr. Thompson's supporters murmured among themselves, some looking uncomfortable with the unfolding scene. A few of them, influenced by the Jeffersons' sincerity, began to step back, reassessing their stance. Before Thompson could respond, an elderly woman from the crowd spoke up. "I've lived in this neighborhood for 50 years, she said, her voice trembling but strong. "And I've seen many families come and go. The Jeffersons are good people. They've shown nothing but kindness and a willingness to help. We should give them a fair chance." Her words seemed to break the spell. Several neighbors nodded in agreement, and the atmosphere began to shift. Mr. Thompson, sensing his influence waning, muttered something under his breath and walked away, his supporters dispersing soon after. Marcus and Lisa stood together, feeling a mixture of relief and gratitude. The community had taken a significant step toward acceptance, and while there was still work to be done, the Jeffersons had proven their resilience and commitment. As the fair continued, more neighbors approached the Jeffersons, offering words of support and friendship. The day ended on a hopeful note, with the Jeffersons feeling more connected to their community than ever before. The community fair had marked a turning point for the Jefferson family, but the journey toward acceptance and unity was far from over. With renewed determination, Marcus and Lisa continued to engage with their neighbors, participating in local events and fostering relationships. One such opportunity presented itself when the community center announced an upcoming talent show. Kayla and Jordan were particularly excited about the talent show. Kayla had been practicing her dance routines, perfecting every move with a grace and energy that had become her signature. Jordan, on the other hand, had been working tirelessly on a new robotics project that combined his love for technology with his artistic flair. They both saw the talent show as a chance to not only showcase their abilities, but also to further integrate their family into the community. As the day of the talent show approached, the Jeffersons threw themselves into preparation. Lisa helped Kayla with her costume, sewing sequins and adjusting hems to ensure everything was perfect. Marcus assisted Jordan with his project, offering advice and encouragement as they worked late into the night. On the day of the talent show, the community center buzzed with excitement. Families and friends filled the seats, eager to support their loved ones. The Jeffersons arrived early, and while there were still a few cold stares and whispers, the overall atmosphere was welcoming. Kayla was one of the first performers. As she stepped onto the stage, she felt a wave of nerves wash over her. But then she saw her parents in the audience, smiling and cheering her on, and her confidence soared. The music began, and Kayla moved with fluid grace, each step and twirl captivating the audience. By the end of her performance, the crowd erupted in applause, and Kayla beamed with pride. Next up was Jordan. He wheeled his robotics project onto the stage, a creation that looked like a cross between a sculpture and a high-tech gadget. He explained how he had designed and built it, integrating sensors and programming to make it interactive. As he demonstrated its capabilities, the audience watched in awe. When Jordan finished, there was a moment of stunned silence before the room exploded with cheers and applause. The talent show continued with various acts, each showcasing the unique talents within the community. But it was Kayla and Jordan's performances that seemed to have the most significant impact. After the show, many neighbors approached the Jeffersons, offering congratulations and expressing genuine admiration for their children's talents. One particularly moving moment came when Mrs. Henderson, an elderly neighbor who had been a close friend of Mr. Thompson, approached Lisa. "Your children are remarkable," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm sorry for any pain we may have caused you. I see now that we were wrong to judge you before getting to know you." Lisa smiled warmly, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. That means a lot to us." As the Jeffersons headed home that night, they felt a sense of accomplishment and belonging that they had never experienced before. The talent show had not only allowed them to showcase their skills, but also to break down barriers and build bridges within their community. In the days that followed, the Jeffersons continued to receive positive feedback. Kayla was invited to join a local dance troupe, and Jordan was asked to lead a robotics workshop at the community center. These opportunities further solidified their place in the neighborhood and demonstrated the positive impact they could have. The talent show had been a crucial step in their journey, but Marcus and Lisa knew there was still more work to be done. They remained committed to fostering a sense of unity and acceptance, proving that despite the initial prejudice, they were an integral part of the community. As the Jefferson family continued to integrate into the community, they were pleasantly surprised by an unexpected turn of events. One day, Marcus received a knock on the door that would lead to an extraordinary and unlikely friendship. It was a sunny Saturday morning when Marcus opened the door to find Mr. Thompson standing on his porch. The very sight of him took Marcus aback. Mr. Thompson had been the most vocal opponent to the Jefferson family moving into the neighborhood, and his unexpected visit was both surprising and somewhat unsettling. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," Marcus said cautiously. "Morning, Marcus," Mr. Thompson replied, his tone unusually subdued. "May I come in? I'd like to talk." Curiosity and a sense of trepidation washed over Marcus, but he stepped aside and gestured for Mr. Thompson to enter. "Of course, come on in." They settled in the living room, and Mr. Thompson took a deep breath before he began. "I owe you and your family an apology. I've been wrong, and I've been unfair. Watching your children at the talent show, seeing how much they've brought to this community, it made me realize how prejudiced I've been." Marcus listened intently, feeling a mix of emotions. He appreciated the courage it took for Mr. Thompson to come forward, but years of ingrained mistrust made him wary. "I appreciate you saying that," Marcus said sincerely. "It takes a lot to admit when we're wrong." Mr. Thompson nodded, his eyes filled with regret. "I'd like to make it right. I want to get to know you, and I want to help build a better community for all of us. I've been part of the problem, but I'd like to be part of the solution." Over the next few weeks, Mr. Thompson made a concerted effort to mend fences and build bridges with the Jefferson family. He invited Marcus for coffee, and they spent hours talking about their lives, their families, and their hopes for the future. Despite their differences, they discovered they had much in common. One afternoon, Mr. Thompson shared a deeply personal story that shed light on his past. "When I was young, my father was very strict and very set in his ways. He didn't tolerate people who were different. I guess some of that rubbed off on me, but it's no excuse. I've realized that I've been holding on to those outdated beliefs for too long." Marcus felt a surge of empathy for Mr. Thompson. "It's never too late to change," he said. "The important thing is that you're willing to now." Their friendship blossomed, and it wasn't long before Mr. Thompson began to involve himself in community initiatives alongside Marcus and Lisa. Together, they organized neighborhood cleanup days, block parties, and other events aimed at fostering unity and understanding among the residents. The Jeffersons' home became a gathering place for diverse groups of neighbors, and Mr. Thompson was often present, helping out and getting to know everyone. The more time he spent with the Jeffersons and their friends, the more his perspectives broadened. Kayla and Jordan were initially wary of Mr. Thompson, given their history, but over time, they saw the genuine effort he was making to change and accepted him into their circle. He attended Kayla's dance recitals and helped Jordan with his robotics projects, offering support and encouragement. One evening, as the Jeffersons and Mr. Thompson sat together on the porch, watching the sunset, Mr. Thompson spoke up. "You know, I used to think that change was impossible, that people were set in their ways. But you've shown me that's not true. You've given me a second chance, and for that, I'm grateful." Lisa smiled warmly. "We all have the capacity to change and grow, Mr. Thompson. It just takes the right reasons and the right people." The once staunch opponent of the Jefferson family had become one of their staunchest supporters, proving that even the most entrenched prejudices could be overcome with understanding, empathy, and a willingness to change. With Mr. Thompson's transformation, the Jeffersons witnessed a ripple effect throughout the community. His newfound acceptance and friendship with the Jefferson family encouraged others to reassess their own biases and attitudes. One sunny afternoon, a community meeting was held at the local park. The Jeffersons, Mr. Thompson, and other residents gathered to discuss ways to further improve the neighborhood. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of hope and unity. "We've come a long way," Marcus began, addressing the crowd. but there's still work to be done. We need to continue fostering an inclusive environment where everyone feels welcome and valued. Mrs. Ramirez, another neighbor who had been initially wary of the Jeffersons, stood up. "I have to admit, I had my doubts when your family first moved in, but seeing the positive impact you've had on our community has made me realize how wrong I was." Others nodded in agreement, murmuring their support. The Jeffersons had not only become a part of the community, but had also inspired a cultural shift towards greater acceptance and unity. Kayla and Jordan, who had both been targets of bullying at school, found themselves becoming leaders among their peers. Kayla's dance performances became community events, drawing large crowds and fostering a sense of pride and togetherness. Jordan's robotics projects, often showcased at local fairs, inspired other children to pursue their interests and talents. As the weeks turned into months, the community continued to thrive. Initiatives like neighborhood cleanups, cultural festivals, and educational workshops became regular occurrences, drawing in residents from all walks of life. The Jeffersons' home remained a hub of activity, a place where ideas were exchanged and friendships were forged. One evening, as the sun set over the neighborhood, Lisa and Marcus sat on their porch, reflecting on the journey they had been through. "Who would have thought," Lisa said, "that our move here would lead to all this?" Marcus nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "It's amazing what can happen when people come together, willing to change and grow." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of laughter. Kayla and Jordan were playing in the yard with their friends, including Mr. Thompson's grandchildren. The sight filled Lisa and Marcus with a deep sense of satisfaction. They had not only found a home, but had also helped create a community where their children could thrive. The Jeffersons' story began to spread beyond their neighborhood, inspiring other communities facing similar challenges. Local news outlets featured their story, highlighting the power of empathy, understanding, and the willingness to change. One day, Marcus received a phone call from a local journalist. "Mr. Jefferson, we'd like to feature your family's story in our next issue. Your journey has touched so many lives and serves as a beacon of hope for others." Marcus agreed, recognizing the importance of sharing their experience. The article, titled "Unity in Diversity: The Jeffersons' Impact on Their Community," showcased the transformative power of acceptance and the profound changes that can occur when people come together with open hearts and minds. As the article circulated, the Jeffersons received letters and messages of support from people all over the country. Some shared their own stories of overcoming prejudice, while others expressed admiration for the Jeffersons' courage and resilience. The Jeffersons' journey was far from over, but they faced the future with optimism and determination. They knew that their efforts had made a lasting impact, not just in their community, but also in the hearts and minds of people everywhere. And so, the Jeffersons continued their journey, committed to building a brighter, more inclusive future for all. With each step forward, they carried with them the lessons they had learned and the friendships they had forged, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their purpose and strengthened by their shared experiences. The story of the Jefferson family and their community's transformation was picked up by a major news outlet. The article, titled "A Community Transformed: The Jeffersons and the Power of Unity," quickly gained traction. It detailed their journey from facing prejudice to becoming catalysts for change in their neighborhood. The article began with a powerful introduction. In a small town, one family's courage to stand against racism has sparked a wave of unity and healing, transforming not just their community but inspiring others across the nation. The news story featured interviews with Marcus and Lisa, who spoke candidly about their experiences. "We never set out to change the world," Marcus said. "We just wanted a safe place for our family. But along the way, We realized that sometimes standing up for what's right can have a far-reaching impact. Lisa added, "It's been a challenging journey, but seeing how our community has come together makes it all worth it. We're grateful for the support and the friendships we've built." The article also included quotes from neighbors who had initially been skeptical but had since become allies. Mr. Thompson's transformation was highlighted as a key turning point. "I used to be blinded by my own prejudices," he admitted, "but the Jeffersons showed me the power of kindness and understanding. They've helped me become a better person." As the story spread, it garnered attention from other media outlets, sparking conversations about racism, community, and the power of empathy. Social media buzzed with shares and comments, with many people expressing admiration for the Jeffersons and their efforts. The Jefferson family received an outpouring of support from people all over the country. Letters and messages of encouragement flooded in, many from individuals who had faced similar struggles. One letter, in particular, stood out to Marcus. "Dear Mr. Jefferson, your story has given me hope. As a black man facing discrimination in my own community, I often feel like giving up. But hearing about your family's journey reminds me that change is possible. Thank you for standing up and showing the world that unity can overcome hate. Sincerely, James." The Jeffersons were deeply moved by the impact their story was having. They realized that their actions had not only transformed their own community, but had also inspired others to stand up against injustice. In response to the overwhelming support, the Jeffersons decided to host a community event to celebrate their journey and promote continued unity. They called it the Festival of Hope. The event featured food, music, and activities that highlighted the diverse cultures within the community. On the day of the festival, the park was filled with people from all walks of life. Children played games, local bands performed, and food stalls offered a variety of cuisines. Marcus and Lisa stood at the entrance, greeting attendees with warm smiles. As the sun set, Marcus took the stage to address the crowd. "Thank you all for being here," he began. "Today, we celebrate not just our journey, but the journey of every person who has ever faced prejudice and fought for change. Together, we can build a future where everyone is accepted and valued." The crowd erupted in applause, and Marcus felt a surge of pride and hope. He knew that their work was far from over, but the Festival of Hope was a testament to what could be achieved when people came together with open hearts. Lisa joined him on stage, taking his hand. "Let's keep this momentum going," she said. "Let's continue to stand up for each other, support one another, and build a community we're all proud to be a part of." The festival ended with a sense of renewed commitment to unity and inclusivity. As the Jeffersons looked out at the smiling faces of their neighbors, they felt a deep sense of accomplishment and gratitude. The impact of their story continued to ripple outwards, touching lives far beyond their small town. The Jeffersons had shown that even in the face of adversity, it was possible to foster understanding, compassion, and change. Their journey was a beacon of hope, illuminating the path toward a more just and equitable world. The news story about the Jefferson family and their role in transforming the community quickly reached Mr. Thompson. As he sat in his living room, he watched the news segment featuring Marcus and Lisa Jefferson, their smiling faces filling the screen. The headline, "Family Inspires Community to Overcome Racism," seemed to mock his previous hostility. Mr. Thompson felt a strange mix of emotions: embarrassment, regret, and a surprising sense of admiration. He couldn't deny the impact the Jeffersons had on the neighborhood. Their courage and resilience had not only changed perceptions, but had also brought about real, tangible improvements. As he continued to watch, Mr. Thompson saw interviews with neighbors who praised the Jeffersons for their leadership and kindness. He recognized many of the faces, people he had known for years, now speaking openly about how they had learned from the Jeffersons' example. "Before the Jeffersons moved in, I never really thought about how my actions affected others," one neighbor admitted. "They've shown us all that we can do better, be better." The camera then cut to a segment from the Festival of Hope. The park was filled with laughter, music, and a sense of unity that Mr. Thompson had never seen before. He saw Marcus addressing the crowd, his voice filled with passion and sincerity. It was a far cry from the tension and animosity that had once filled their interactions. When the segment ended, Mr. Thompson turned off the TV and sat in silence, reflecting on everything he had seen and heard. He thought about the harsh words he had exchanged with Marcus, the petty actions he had taken to make life difficult for the Jeffersons, and the isolation he now felt as the community rallied around the very people he had tried to push away. His mind drifted to the moment he had seen Marcus standing tall and proud at the Festival of Hope, speaking about unity and compassion. Mr. Thompson felt a pang of guilt. He realized that his own prejudices had blinded him to the truth. The Jeffersons were not his enemies. They were the catalysts for the positive change the community so desperately needed. Determined to make amends, Mr. Thompson decided it was time to swallow his pride. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he wanted to show the Jeffersons that he had changed, that he had learned from his mistakes. He took a deep breath, grabbed his coat, and walked out the door. The evening air was cool as Mr. Thompson approached the Jeffersons' house. He felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach, but pushed forward, determined to set things right. He rang the doorbell and waited, his heart pounding in his chest. The door opened, and Marcus stood there, his expression a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Mr. Thompson," he said, his voice cautious. "Marcus," Mr. Thompson began, struggling to find the right words. I saw the news. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for everything." Marcus's eyes softened, and he stepped aside to let Mr. Thompson in. "Come on in," he said, his tone inviting. "Let's talk." As they sat down in the living room, Mr. Thompson felt a wave of relief wash over him. He took a deep breath and began to speak, sharing his regrets and acknowledging the harm he had caused. Marcus listened patiently, nodding as Mr. Thompson spoke. "I was wrong," Mr. Thompson admitted, his voice trembling with emotion. "I let my prejudices get in the way of seeing you and your family for who you really are. You've done so much good for this community, and I was too blind to see it." Marcus leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Mr. Thompson, it takes a lot of courage to admit when you're wrong. I appreciate you coming here and saying this." Mr. Thompson nodded, grateful for Marcus's understanding. "I want to help," he said, "in any way I can. I want to be a part of this community again, the right way." Marcus smiled, extending his hand. "Welcome back, Mr. Thompson." They shook hands, a gesture of reconciliation and a step toward healing old wounds. As they continued to talk, Mr. Thompson felt a sense of hope he hadn't experienced in years. He realized that change was possible, even for someone like him. The news of Mr. Thompson's apology and his desire to make amends spread quickly through the neighborhood. It was another sign of the Jeffersons' impact, a testament to their ability to inspire transformation, even in the most unlikely of people. As the days turned into weeks, Mr. Thompson became an active participant in the community, working alongside the Jeffersons and other neighbors to continue the positive changes. He attended community meetings, volunteered at events, and gradually rebuilt the relationships he had damaged with his past behavior. For the Jeffersons, Mr. Thompson's transformation was a powerful reminder of why they had stood up against prejudice in the first place. It wasn't just about their own family. It was about creating a better, more inclusive world for everyone. And for Mr. Thompson, it was a chance to rewrite his own story, to move beyond the mistakes of the past and embrace a future filled with understanding, compassion, and unity. Over the next few days, Mr. Thompson made a concerted effort to reach out to the Jeffersons and the rest of the community. He knew that words alone would not be enough. His actions needed to reflect his newfound commitment to change. One Saturday afternoon, Thompson gathered his courage and decided to visit the Jeffersons once more. This time, he came prepared with a homemade pie, a gesture of goodwill and an attempt to bridge the gap he had created. He rang the doorbell and waited, hoping that Marcus and Lisa would be willing to talk. When the door opened, it was Lisa who greeted him. Her initial surprise gave way to a cautious smile as she saw the pie in his hands. "Mr. Thompson," she said warmly, "please come in." As he entered their home, Thompson noticed the warmth and love that filled the space. Family photos adorned the walls, and the scent of a home-cooked meal wafted from the kitchen. It was a stark contrast to the cold and isolated life he had been living. "Thank you for having me," Thompson said, his voice sincere. "I wanted to apologize again and show my appreciation for everything your family has done for this community. I brought this pie as a small token of my gratitude." Lisa's eyes softened as she took the pie from him. "That's very kind of you, Mr. Thompson. Please have a seat." They sat down in the living room, and soon Marcus joined them. The atmosphere was initially tense, but as they began to talk, it gradually relaxed. Thompson shared more about his regrets and his desire to make amends, and Marcus and Lisa listened with open hearts. "I've realized how wrong I was," Thompson admitted, "and I want to do better. I want to be a part of the positive change you're bringing to this community." Marcus nodded, appreciating Thompson's honesty. "We all make mistakes, Mr. Thompson. What's important is that you're willing to learn and grow from them. We're glad to have you on board." As they continued to talk, the conversation shifted to ideas for future community projects. Thompson, eager to contribute, suggested organizing a neighborhood cleanup day to beautify the area and foster a sense of unity among the residents. Marcus and Lisa enthusiastically agreed, and together they began planning the event. In the weeks that followed, Thompson's actions spoke louder than his words. He volunteered his time and resources to various community initiatives, working side by side with the Jeffersons and other neighbors. The once hostile relationships gradually transformed into bonds of mutual respect and friendship. The neighborhood cleanup day was a resounding success. Families, children, and even elderly residents came out to participate, armed with trash bags, gloves, and a shared sense of purpose. As they worked together to pick up litter, plant flowers, and paint fences, the community spirit blossomed. Thompson, who had once been an outsider, found himself at the heart of the activity. He was amazed by the camaraderie and support that surrounded him. As he wiped sweat from his brow and looked around at the smiling faces, he felt a profound sense of belonging. During a break, Marcus approached him with a bottle of water. "You know, Mr. Thompson, I never thought I'd see the day when we'd be working together like this," he said with a grin. Thompson chuckled, taking the water gratefully. "Neither did I, Marcus. But I'm glad we're here. It's been a long journey, but it's worth it." The cleanup day culminated in a community barbecue at the park. As the sun set and the sky turned shades of pink and orange, neighbors gathered to enjoy good food and each other's company. laughter and music filled the air, and the sense of unity was palpable. Thompson watched the scene with a smile, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. He had come a long way from the man who had once harbored so much prejudice and anger. Now, he was part of something bigger, a community that was stronger and more resilient because of its diversity and compassion. As the evening drew to a close, Marcus stood up to address the crowd. "Thank you, everyone, for coming out today and making this event a success. This is what community is all about, coming together, supporting each other, and building a better future." He then turned to Thompson, who was standing nearby. "And a special thank you to Mr. Thompson, whose willingness to change and contribute has been an inspiration to us all." The crowd erupted in applause, and Thompson felt tears welling up in his eyes. He had never imagined that he would receive such recognition and acceptance. It was a moment of redemption and a testament to the power of transformation. As the applause died down, Thompson stepped forward, his voice choked with emotion. "Thank you, everyone. I can't tell you how much this means to me. I've learned so much from all of you, and I'm committed to continuing this journey of growth and understanding." That night, as Thompson walked home, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that the road ahead would still have its challenges, but he was ready to face them with an open heart and a determination to do better. For the Jeffersons, Thompson's transformation was a powerful reminder of the impact they could have on others. Their journey had not only changed their own lives, but had also inspired others to challenge their prejudices and embrace a more inclusive and compassionate world. And for Thompson, it was a chance to rewrite his story and build a future based on respect, understanding, and community. It was a journey of redemption and a testament to the fact that it's never too late to change. With Mr. Thompson's active participation and the Jeffersons' leadership, the neighborhood began to undergo a significant transformation. What had once been a divided and somewhat hostile community slowly started to come together in a way that surprised everyone. The Neighborhood Cleanup Day marked the beginning of many more community-driven initiatives. Marcus, Lisa, and Thompson, along with other enthusiastic residents, organized regular events to foster unity and cooperation. These events included neighborhood watch programs, monthly potlucks, and community garden projects. One of the most impactful projects was the creation of a community center. The idea, proposed by Lisa during one of their planning meetings, was to have a safe and inclusive space where residents could gather, learn, and support each other. The old, abandoned building at the edge of the neighborhood was chosen as the site for the center. With donations and volunteer labor, the community transformed the dilapidated building into a vibrant hub of activity. Thompson, leveraging his business contacts and resources, secured funding for the project. He also personally helped with the renovation, demonstrating his commitment to the neighborhood's future. The community center quickly became the heart of the neighborhood. It offered after-school programs for children, job training and support services for adults, and a variety of recreational activities for all ages. The center also hosted workshops on topics like financial literacy, health and wellness, and cultural awareness, promoting a sense of empowerment and inclusivity among the residents. The impact of these initiatives was profound. Crime rates in the neighborhood began to drop as the sense of community strengthened. Neighbors who had once been strangers or even adversaries started to look out for one another, fostering a safer and more supportive environment. Local businesses began to thrive as well. The increased community engagement brought more customers and opportunities for collaboration. Thompson's own business practices changed, reflecting his newfound commitment to fairness and equality. He implemented diversity training programs and promoted a more inclusive workplace culture. The media took notice of the remarkable transformation. Local news outlets covered the story of how a neighborhood, once marred by division and prejudice, had become a model of unity and progress. The Jeffersons and Thompson were often featured in these stories, highlighting their roles in driving the positive change. Marcus and Lisa were invited to speak at various community and civic events, sharing their experiences and insights on fostering unity and resilience. Their story inspired other communities facing similar challenges, proving that change was possible with determination and collective effort. For Thompson, the journey of redemption continued. He found fulfillment in his new role as a community advocate and mentor. His relationship with the Jeffersons deepened, and he often spent time with their family, sharing meals and participating in their activities. One evening, as the community center bustled with activity, Thompson stood by the entrance, watching the diverse group of residents interacting, laughing, and supporting each other. Marcus joined him, handing him a cup of coffee. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" Marcus said, a smile on his face. Thompson nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of pride and humility. "It really is. I never imagined things could change so much." Marcus patted him on the back. "You played a big part in making it happen, Mr. Thompson. We couldn't have done it without you." Thompson shook his head, his voice filled with emotion. "No, Marcus. It was all of us, together. I've learned so much from this community. It's a second chance I didn't think I'd get." As they stood there, watching the vibrant life of the community center, both men felt a deep sense of accomplishment and hope. The neighborhood had not only been transformed, but had also become a beacon of what was possible when people came together with a common purpose. For the Jeffersons, the journey had been challenging, but the rewards were immeasurable. They had not only helped change their neighborhood, but had also built lasting relationships and inspired countless others to strive for a better future. And for Thompson, it was a testament to the power of change and redemption. He had gone from being a man isolated by his own prejudices to a respected and valued member of the community. His journey was far from over, but he faced the future with a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to making a positive impact. Years later, the neighborhood's transformation continued to be a source of inspiration and pride for its residents. The community center thrived, expanding its programs and services to meet the growing needs of the neighborhood. The once divided community had become a close-knit, supportive network of friends and allies. Marcus and Lisa Jefferson remained at the forefront of community leadership. Their dedication and passion earned them numerous awards and recognition from both local and national organizations. They continued to advocate for social justice, using their experiences to educate and inspire others. Their story was featured in documentaries, books, and speaking engagements, spreading their message of resilience and unity far beyond their neighborhood. The Jeffersons' children, now grown, carried forward their parents' legacy. Inspired by the transformation they witnessed, they pursued careers in social work, community organizing, and public service. They often returned to the neighborhood to mentor the next generation, ensuring that the values of inclusivity and justice remained strong. Mr. Thompson's journey of redemption also left a lasting impact. He became a beloved figure in the community, known for his generosity and dedication to making a difference. His business thrived, not just because of its financial success, but because it had become a model of ethical and inclusive practices. Thompson established scholarships for underprivileged students, funded community projects, and continued to mentor young entrepreneurs. One sunny afternoon, a large crowd gathered at the community center for a special event. It was the dedication of a new wing named in honor of Marcus and Lisa Jefferson. The air was filled with excitement and anticipation as residents, local officials, and media gathered to celebrate the occasion. The new wing was a state-of-the-art facility that included classrooms, a computer lab, and a spacious auditorium. It was designed to provide educational and vocational training, helping residents gain the skills needed for better job opportunities and personal growth. The Jefferson Wing was a testament to the impact the couple had made on their community and a symbol of hope for future generations. As the ceremony began, the crowd fell silent, and Marcus and Lisa took the stage. Marcus, holding Lisa's hand, looked out at the sea of faces and felt a surge of emotion. He began to speak, his voice filled with gratitude and pride. "Thank you all for being here today. This community center, and especially this new wing, represents everything we've worked for. It's a place where dreams are nurtured, where everyone is welcome, and where we can build a better future together." Lisa stepped forward, her eyes shining with tears. "We couldn't have done this alone. It took all of us working together, believing in each other, and never giving up. This is just the beginning. Let's continue to support and uplift one another, and make our neighborhood a beacon of hope and possibility." The crowd erupted in applause, the sound echoing through the center and beyond. It was a moment of triumph, a celebration of what they had achieved, and a reminder of the power of unity and determination. In the audience, Mr. Thompson watched with a sense of pride and fulfillment. He knew that his life had been forever changed by the Jeffersons and the community they had built together. As he looked around at the smiling faces, he felt a deep sense of peace. He had found his purpose, and he was determined to continue making a difference. As the event concluded and people mingled, sharing stories and laughter, Marcus and Lisa walked over to Thompson. The three of them stood together, looking out at the vibrant community they had helped create. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," Lisa said, her voice filled with sincerity. "We couldn't have done this without you." Thompson shook his head, a humble smile on his face. "No, thank you. You showed me what it means to truly care for others. I'm honored to be a part of this community." Marcus nodded, placing a hand on Thompson's shoulder. "We're all in this together, and together, there's nothing we can't achieve." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood, the three of them stood there, united in their commitment to building a better future. The Jeffersons, Thompson, and the entire community had created a legacy of resilience, compassion, and hope, one that would inspire generations to come. In the end, it wasn't just about overcoming adversity or achieving success. It was about the power of community, the strength of unity, and the belief that together they could create a world where everyone was valued and respected. And that, more than anything, was a legacy worth celebrating.